I now give the floor to the representative of Germany.
Thank you, Mr. President, for guiding our meeting today. I would like to thank also Assistant Secretary General Fernandez Terranco for his briefing. And Germany aligns itself with the EU statement to be delivered later on. Mr. President, we have on many occasions deplored the political stalemate in the Middle East, and we have consistently urged to intensify efforts to find a political solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Therefore, we very warmly welcome the Jordanian initiative in support of quartet efforts to facilitate direct contacts between the parties with the aim of resuming direct and meaningful negotiations. Our primary goal remains a just and lasting peace. The viability of a two-state solution must not be jeopardized by developments on the ground, in particular continued settlement construction in Jerusalem and Area C. We have discussed the settlement issue in depth in this Council at the end of December and also outlined our concerns together with France, the UK, and Portugal. As a matter of urgency, we want to see comprehensive proposals on borders and security as envisaged by the Quartet statement of September 23rd of last year, and confidence-building measures that help building trust between the parties and that demonstrate a genuine commitment to start meaningful negotiations. Any statements or developments referring to possible settlement plans for the area called E1 around Jerusalem are of particular concern. Pushing forward with these plans would mean cutting off East Jerusalem from the West Bank. This would have a highly negative impact on the viability and contiguity of a Palestinian state in the occupied territories in the framework of a two-state solution, if not make it impossible. Mr. President, we welcome measures taken by the Israeli authorities in response to increasing settler violence. We trust that determined law enforcement will bring the perpetrators to justice, complying with the obligation to protect civilians under international law. Mr. President, forced relocations of Palestinians in Area C must be halted, and implementation of demolition orders in Area C must be stopped. Restrictions on access and movement should be dismantled further. Palestinians must be allowed to use their natural resources in Area C. Mr. President, on Gaza, import capacity has increased, but we are still at only 40% of the weekly volume of the first half of 2007. Much more is needed, also with regard to exports, to allow Gazan economy to recover and to generate jobs. Further progress on access and movement would also contribute to ease legitimate Israeli security concerns, as it would strengthen the business sector at the expense of radical forces and could help dry out the financial basis for Hamas provided by the tunnel business. Mr. President, rockets are continuing to fly from Gaza, targeting the Israeli civilian population. We strongly condemn those attacks. There's no justification for this indiscriminate violence. It must end. Mr. President, mention was made of the Muftis of Jerusalem's inflammatory speech on the 9th of January at a rally marking the 47th anniversary of Fatah's founding. We strongly condemn that speech. Such incitement against the Jewish people is repulsive, unacceptable, and purely anti-Semitic. Jerusalem is a city sacred to three faiths, and all its religious leaders should promote respect and tolerance. Mr. President, at its 10th anniversary, also the Arab Peace Initiative deserves renewed attention. The Arab Spring has demonstrated that the peoples in the region want to shape their future on a peaceful basis, through negotiations and discussions, not by the use of violence. Our primary goal remains a just and lasting resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This ambition must be turned into reality, the creation of a sovereign, independent, democratic, contiguous, and viable Palestinian state living in peace and security side by side with the State of Israel. Mr. President, on Syria, we welcome the important decision taken by the League of Arab States just 2 days ago. A clear signal from this Council is needed that supports the League of Arab States initiative in all its aspects. The Council should condemn the continued systematic human rights violations and the use of force against civilians by the Syrian authorities and demand an immediate end to all violence. And it must recall that all those responsible for all violence and human rights violations should be held accountable. And it must build on the decisions of the League of Arab States, in particular taken those last Sunday. We fully support the League of Arab States' efforts in all their aspects. We welcome the intention of the Arab League to appoint a special representative on Syria and to seize the Security Council of the situation in Syria. We would therefore welcome if the League of Arab States Secretary General and the President of the Ministerial Follow-up Committee brief the Security Council as soon as possible on the League of Arab States initiative to solve the crisis in Syria. There should be Arab ownership to solve this Syrian crisis, but with a strong, unified support of the Security Council. With the steps taken by the Arab League on Sunday, a page has been turned, and the Security Council now needs to respond with one voice. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Germany for his statement.